What's up? What's up? What's up? So the fights on Showtime and HBO have just ended. I uh, I glanced at. I was kind of flipping back and forth, and then I decided I had to settle on one. So I need to go back and watch the HBO fights. But let's talk about what happened on Showtime. Um, Santa Cruz got his revenge in a rematch with the Jackal, Carl Frampton, and he won a majority decision, 115, 113, 115, 113, and 114 all. And when you go back to my keys to victory for both guys, Santa Cruz did everything that I said. I mean, to a T, everything I said. He used feints. Everybody's talking about the jab. Hey, man, look, the jab was fantastic tonight. I get that. But I'm telling you, the feints were, in my opinion, better. Because that's just not, he's usually just a come forward, let's bring it guy. And when I looked at the weigh-in of this afternoon or this evening or what have you, when they stepped on the scales and I saw how Frampton rehydrated higher, a lot higher, and the fact that he, like Mikey Garcia, who I'll speak about in a minute, continue to just have these weight things going on. He trained for a different fight. But that's not Leo Santa Cruz's problem, as I see David Haye walking behind. If you watch the replay of this fight, David Haye is walking behind Carl Frampton. Now he put his hand on his shoulder. So he used feints. He used his height and reach advantage, and he changed the cadence up, if you will. I mean, everything that I said in my pre-fight for his, which I thought that Santa Cruz would do, but I didn't think it would last, and eventually they would brawl. He stuck to the game plan, and he won. I thought he was going to get caught late when his father said, let's start winning these rounds more decisively. I'm like, okay, this is where he's going to leave himself open and get caught. But he didn't go to win those rounds more decisively. He did just enough at certain points in certain rounds to get him a victory. So he only won by one round on two judges' scorecards, and it was a draw on the third. Let me talk about the Showtime. Listen, a lot of people want to see the trilogy. I get that. And who wanted it the most? It sounded like the Showtime broadcast team, or Paulie Malignaggi and Farhood and those guys, because in the beginning of the fight they were calling, and the middle and the end, but especially in the beginning, they were calling the fight a little one-sided. And what I mean is, Ronaldo, or however you say his name, he'll get it, big shots by Santa Cruz, and then Frampton will throw like a two-piece in between that, bop, bop, and then another left hook by Santa. Like he'll see the big shots, get excited, miss the shots by Frampton, and then come back, and it kind of skews the fight. The average fight fan, they're hearing what he says and saying, okay, listen, defensively, I thought Carl Frampton was great, especially at the end of some rounds where he did the little dipsy-do, Pernell Whitaker thing. At the end of at least 4 rounds, I mean, Santa Cruz would throw 5 or 6 punch combinations and just miss all the shots, as Frampton got so low that he almost was on the floor, and he was just moving his head. Another thing is, Paulie kept talking about, as Frampton backed away from the jab or what have you, he got out of position. And he's right, except that when he got out of position, Leo didn't do anything at those moments that Paulie talked about. So while he was talking about Frampton being out of position and saying, well, he's out of position and then he has to reset, that's fine. But you know what? He got a guy in front of him that has a 7 freaking inch reach advantage. Also, a lot of the body shots that these guys threw, that the commentating crew got excited over, a lot of these body shots that both guys threw were below the belt. I mean, they weren't even on the... When he drew the line and said, this is too low, this is too low, they were low. They were low. But Carl Frampton, he had a great camp. He wanted to actually weigh more on fight night because he was going for the knockout. And he put some people down in camp. I think the problem is he fell a little too in love with what he did in camp. And he fell too in love with it halfway through the fight as he was loading up trying to land shots that would end the fight. The problem with that is his left hook counter, he was missing high all through the night. He just missed high. Once he start landing it in your middle to later rounds, it was effective. His uppercut was effective. But he didn't throw the uppercut enough, and he didn't land the left hook on the sweet spot until later than he didn't establish it. Leo ducked it all night, and Carl wasn't as active as he could have been when Leo was going backwards. Leo's jab was fantastic. I thought Frampton's hook, left hook, was pretty good in spots. He got wild and missed high, and he really fell in love with his power. But when he was on, he wobbled Santa Cruz a couple of times. And I would say watch the slow motion, but you can't, because every slow motion thing seemed to show the work that Leo did. But if you watch the end of the broadcast, where like when everybody's finished talking and they're rolling the credits up, they're showing video of not only Mikey Garcia, but then they go to the fight, and you start seeing how hard some of the shots that Frampton threw were. The reason I'm saying that is because if you listen to the crew, you would think Frampton won 8 rounds to 4, 9 rounds to 3. I think the judges, you can't argue with what they had. If you're just if you have a good eye for it. I don't have a problem with 7-5 for Santa Cruz. I wouldn't have had a problem for it the other way. I wouldn't have a problem with the draw. However, immediately, I think a couple of weeks, I won't say immediately, after the first fight and the interview was, I want to do it again, let's do it on the West Coast. I'm like, you know what? No matter what, you're going to see close scorecards, and you're going to see a trilogy. And that's what we happened. I think even if Santa Cruz would have dropped him or hurt him or clearly won another round, the scorecards would have still been the same. 7-5, 6-6, 7-5 for Santa Cruz, so that we can get this trilogy on. Now, will you be a man of your word and go fight in Belfast? Will you go fight in Ireland? That's the key. And then, are you going to show Frampton the money, or is he going to just go ahead and move up to the next weight class? Because I know there's some issues with him. I see Mikey Garcia maybe defending his title twice at the most, and he'll be moving up to 140. It's just something about his weight, and it's something about Frampton's weight where they'll keep moving up. And by the time Mikey Garcia is ready to fight Terrence Bud Crawford will probably move up, because he's been a bit of a weight bully in the past 3 weight classes he's been in. He needs to be at 147 pounds. So, but Leo was fantastic. The jab was on the money. The feints, love the feints, man. Oh man, love the feint. For those of you listening out here, you don't know what a feint is. It's when you kind of bluff. You throw your shoulder and fake like you're going to throw a jab, or fake like you're going to throw a punch, and make the other guy jump because he's thinking you're going to throw something. And he's like, "Oh, okay, you got me." And then you actually come behind that and throw something. Sometimes you don't, but it confuses him. And I mean, he used it. I'm going to say this. Carl Frampton has seen feints before, and he's seen jabs, and he's seen Leo Santa Cruz before. So while I give Santa Cruz all the credit for changing his style, I blame Carl Frampton here because when I talked about overconfidence and not a guy who just seemed to be very confident, he trained for a brawl and he trained for a knockout, and he did not believe Leo Santa Cruz could change his style the way he did. And guess what? He paid for it tonight. The Jackal paid for it. See, so now when you talk about a mental advantage in the third fight, the rubber match, wouldn't be surprised if they fought 4 times. If Leo can, I mean, if Carl can make the weight. Santa Cruz has the mental advantage now, because it's like, I've shown you a different style. Now you don't know what I'm going to come out with. I might come out with a little of the first style, a little of the second style, but now, what are you going to train for? You're going to train for the knockout? Next time, you're going to train for, what are you going to train for? So, good work. Good work. I stand corrected. I mean, Leo Santa Cruz brought something. I stand corrected 2 ways. First of all, Leo Santa Cruz won. A close one, but he won, and you really can't argue. But I also was wrong. Well, no. I said the latter. I was like, either this guy is over confident talking about Frampton, or he knows something that none of us do. And I said, it's probably the latter. Well, it wasn't. It was the former. When I say overconfident, boxers have to be confident. They have to be overconfident. But what I mean is, he thought he took for granted, and you got to blame the trainer too. They took for granted that Santa Cruz only knew how to fight one way, and that's the way he was going to bring it, and he switched it up. So while I give Santa Cruz credit, I give a lot of blame to Team Frampton. I think that they underestimated the young man and the game plan, and so there you have it. So congratulations to Leo. It's a fantastic bounce back fight for him, and Carl has to go back to the drawing board and see. I still think Carl's the better fighter, but now the better boxer. But now he's gonna have to prove it if they have this rubber match, and it's gonna be crazy. Whether it's L.A., Las Vegas, New York, if it's Belfast, wherever it is, it's gonna be crazy, and it should be a well-watched event. And hopefully there won't be anything on the other networks to kind of counter program against it, so you can get the full value out of what, as far as viewership is concerned. Now, in the co-feature, boy, I said in my prediction, at least I got this one right? I said if Mikey Garcia is who he was a couple of years ago, he's going to make something hard look easy, and trust me. Dion Zlaticanin is not an easy out. He's Vic Darchinyan. That's who he is. if you watch, if you know Vic Darchinyan and you've seen him fight, that's who Zlaticanin is. And sure enough, he came out with his wild, with his wild left hands and did his thing. And Mikey Garcia, whew, third round knockout. Not that TKO shit either. Knockout. I mean, he hit him with a 3-piece. 3 rounds, 3-piece, 3-division world champion. Big time uppercut. Snuck a left hook inside, and then and he kind of turned Zlaticanin, and when Zlaticanin turned back around on those ropes, the right hand was already flying. Boom! He went down, and he went out. Even though he was out, I still like to count. I like to count guys out. There's a reason, and I'll cover that in one of my next couple of videos that I'm going to release. But there was no need for this one. I mean, he was out, and I'll put a picture of how he was out. He was asleep, pretty much. He just, no faculty. I mean, just he was out. And the people that came, the medical staff, the announcers kind of bragged about the Las Vegas medical folks, but yo, they looked a little confused. And so then they kind of grabbed him and slid him, and I'm like, all right, man, you don't want to move. Listen, you always assume, I don't care who you are, that somebody has let's say somebody has a broken neck, okay? Let's just say that. And they kind of pulling him first by the at the top where his head is, then pulling his feet. And listen, I'm not a licensed medic or anything, but jeez, I mean, just kind of step between the ropes and do your work. But fortunately, because I mean, when you talk about a fighter looking like he might be dead, this is the textbook picture in the encyclopedia dictionary of the word dead. Got him some oxygen, got him some smelling salts, start moving his extremities, start moving his legs, and the staff were moving his legs, and then finally I heard somebody, if you listen real closely, underneath of the Showtime announcers, you said, the fight's over. One of the doctors was telling him pretty much, you got knocked out, the fight was over. So like Aaron Snow told Mike Tyson many years ago after the Buster Douglas thing. So good night of fights. I'm going to sit back and watch the HBO fights. I flipped over after the Frampton thing, and they were interviewing Mura, and he won, and was interviewing Vargas, who was busted up once again, but great fight. And then the fight before that, man, that was a war too, but I flipped, and then I said, let me just watch this Garcia thing. So I caught round 5, and then I caught another round. So anyway, good night of boxing. And we'll just look forward to the rest. Once again, first quarter of 2017 on paper is looking fantastic. I mean, we still got Curtis Stevens and David Lemieux. We got Gennady Golovkin, Daniel Jacobs. We got the 2 Adrians, one with the E, one with the A. Adrian with the E, Broner, versus Adrian with the A, Granados. I mean, we got Garcia and Thurman. And, I mean, this is all just the high-level stuff. I mean, we got Tony Superbad Harrison and Jared Hurd, 2 young guns, putting it on the line. We just got big time. I love that matchup. We got Amir Mansour and Travis Kaufman. The return of Deontay Wilder and whoever he's going to fight. Looks like it's going to be what's my man's name? Guy was supposed to be fighting Antonio Tarver, but now it looks like it's going to be Deontay Wilder. So we got some stuff. We got, Mundine coming up, the rematch. Roy Jones Jr. fighting the bare knuckles guy. You got Marvin Hagler Jr. versus Ray Leonard Jr. This is no lie. You can look it up. You can see the press conference and everything. I think they're fighting at cruiserweight. So we got some Chocolatito is on the Gennady Golovkin undercard, and the guy he just fought, Carlos Cuadras, also on that same undercard. They're trying to line up the next opponent for Lomachenko. We got Gary Russell Jr. It won't be him coming up. Title fight. We got Demetrius Andrade in a title fight with the Jack Koke guy. So we got the other Charlo brother, Jamel, on the undercard of one of those that I mentioned. I can't remember which fight. So we got some good. Of course, we got Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Got that coming up. So 2017 is just the first quarter. We already had the James DeGale and Badu Jack thing, so Sammy Vasquez, Louis Collazo, good matchup, good comeback fight for both guys. Robert Easter Jr. going to defend. Warshay Warren going to defend. Matter of fact, I think Jermell Charlo I think him and Gary Russell Jr. Their fights are on the undercard of the Granados and Broner. Got Miguel Cotto and James Kirkland, of course, in February. And we'll see who Joseph Parker fights. We'll see who Adonis Stevenson fights. And then a week before Canelo versus Jr., we got the Anthony Joshua, Vladimir Klitschko. So y'all stay tuned. Faraz, sorry about this. I know this video will go on way longer than it should, but hey, man, it be like that sometimes. You dig? Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're gonna come with some video. We go into the fights as we always been, but we're gonna get some good HD quality video and some interviews. Let's say mid to late 2017. All right. Catch you on the next one.